Hi, welcome back to the Therapy Pages podcast. We are April and Dory. So
Hi.
it's been I feel like it's been a while since our last episode, but I guess it hasn't been too long.
Yeah. No, it does seem like, well, I think with the holidays, again, that's what I think I said last time too, because we had Thanksgiving. But
Right.
yeah, I think the holidays have made it feel a little longer.
I
It's a
think so
strange
too.
holiday season.
It is a strange holiday season, and it will soon be over. So it's
Hmm.
almost New Year's. So I think this is episode 8, maybe.
I think so. Crazy. And we still don't have music, but we're getting closer.
We're getting closer to having music. We promise we will have music someday.
Someday.
So we were just talking about books to do going forward. So for the next episode, we have a lot of ideas on books that we want to read and review. And if you guys have any ideas, please let us know. We're always more than willing to read some new books. So
Hmm.
our goal for the new year is to try to stay on track with doing 2 podcast episodes a month, maybe more,
Hmm.
but I think at least 2. So for next time, we are going to do We Were Made for These Times.
There it is. I don't know if you can see it, but there it is.
It's been highly recommended
Yes.
by
Yeah.
a few different people. So
Yeah, the subtitle is 10 Lessons for Moving Through Change, Loss, and Disruption. So this has been on my to read list for a bit. So I'm glad to, have a time that I need to read it. So I will now do that. So I have the motivation to read it
motivation
now.
reading. Yes, me too. So we'll be doing that one next. If you want to read it along with us, definitely do
Mhm.
that. You can listen to our next episode. But so for today, we are talking about wintering.
Yes.
So wintering by Katherine May, the power of rest and retreat in difficult times.
Hmm.
So I am having a cup of tea, so I'm practicing wintering during our podcast.
You are. Yes.
So I really liked this book. I think the book she wrote it about her own personal experiences. The author, so she wrote about how she was celebrating with friends at a beach, and her husband became very sick, and just her idea of kind of wanting to ignore that and pretend it wasn't happening and just kind of
Hmm.
continue on with her life. And then she also ended up getting sick herself, and then had some issues with her son not wanting to go to school. So it was kind of her personal story about just some not great things that were happening in her life and the way that she dealt with them, which she kind of talked about was very different than how she had dealt with them in the past. So I kind of really like that idea of her just talking about how those things that happen in our life, how we can kind of learn to cope with them. They're not going to go away; those things are still going to happen, but we can learn how to cope with them a little bit differently.
Yeah, and like if you feel like you're not living up to or that you're falling behind or that you can reframe, like you can take it and you can just slow down. You don't need to force, you don't need to um even judge yourself, just being able to just kind of pause and give yourself that time, to reflect and not judge and just, okay, maybe I didn't do things how I wanted to, or maybe this didn't work out, or it feels like, it's one thing after another, but being able to just pause and slow down. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the holidays are a perfect example of that. I think we all have all these expectations on how the holidays are supposed to be or how we want them to be, and it usually never goes the way that we have planned.
Right.
Which that's how life goes. So yeah, so the idea of wintering is so interesting because I don't know how you feel about winter, but I do not like winter. And you suggested this book. I had never heard of it before, but you had suggested it, and I was like, wintering. I don't even want to read that book because
I
I
don't
don't
want to
like it.
winter.
I don't want to winter. Was my immediate reaction. Like I don't even want. I don't want to read about it. I don't want to talk about it. I
Right.
don't want anything to do with it. I just want it to be over. Um, But it's so much more than that. And the idea is that it's not necessarily just the season, but it has to do with kind of a metaphor for our lives and how I think for me it was getting to a place of, and now I'm trying to see things more this way of not just getting through the winter, because that's always what I have done. Like, just it's only like 3 months. I can just get through
Right.
it and be miserable for those 3 months. But being in a place of more kind of acceptance of it, and maybe even enjoying it a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you move away from, oh God, I've got to endure this, to almost a lens of curiosity, like, okay, well, let me see. I don't need to, just because I felt this way about it in the past doesn't mean those thoughts were true, or that, it really ended up in any kind of way. But when you go into anything with dread, that's going to give you a skewed perspective. So I think this book really encourages you to let go of any preconceived ideas, or about whatever a situation should be. So whatever chapter you are in your life, or whatever stage, being able to reflect on it and look at it, how, if it's not working out how you want it to be, just pause, reflect, and notice.
Yes. Yeah. And she starts with the month of September, and
Mm-hmm.
then kind of goes through and tells her story through March, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Towards like the end of March. Which I know, yeah, for me, March always starts to feel a little bit better. It's kind of
Yeah.
exciting, like spring starting to come.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I love the idea also of being able to embrace more winter. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and just knowing like that the cold, the darkness, there can sometimes be some really good things that can come out of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I liked how she went through the season. Like the end of summer, because September was still very much summer. Where she was, and then with her husband getting ill, and then leading to all of these other things that happened. But yeah, I mean, it really it set you up to just follow where she was going with her. So the summer's all that, yeah, this feels so good, we're at the beach, blah blah. Oh God, you're so annoying, you're sick. And like that sets up everything to kind of go, well, maybe go down, but then as you are, going through it with her, it's like, well, maybe it's not. Like, what is this trying to tell me, so.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, what are your thoughts on winter in general? Are you a winter person?
I don't really I like snow,
Mm-hmm.
like especially in theory. I don't necessarily I used to ski when I was younger. But I like when it snows and it's quiet and cozy, and I like fires, but I don't like the slush, and I don't like the wintry mix, which is what we have more now in Pennsylvania than really, well, in our part of Pennsylvania than anything else. Um, And I don't like the cold all the time, but I do also like, snuggling up, and I like, getting cozy. So I guess I don't hate it. And, it's not like I'll say that's my favorite season, but there are things that I really do enjoy about winter. And maybe it's, after reading this book, maybe it is that just idea of slowing down, and being more reflective, getting cozy, so like with the warm tea or hot chocolate, or reading a book on the sofa with a blanket and a fire. So yeah.
Yeah, you can find some of those things that feel nice about winter. And
Mm-hmm.
funny that you say snow, because she had a chapter on snow and talked about snow, and I
Mm-hmm.
thought it was funny because she said like it seemed like our childhood with snow seemed like there was so much more snow than there is now, and it seemed so much more fun and exciting when you were a kid, and now it feels more like a nuisance. But yeah, I mean, when it's the snows, or when we had that really bad winter mix with the ice, it forces you to stay inside. um,
Mm-hmm.
well, should maybe force you to stay inside.
Right.
Um, but yeah, and that idea of like maybe it's okay just to give yourself permission to not go outside and do anything, and just
Yeah.
be still.
Yeah. Yeah. Just to just slow down. Yeah. Like bears, I kind of slow down and hibernate and just, just get cozy. So,
Yeah, she talked a lot about hibernation and the dormouse, right?
mm-hmm,
How they
mm-hmm.
hibernate. And that sometimes that's really what we need is to be able to give ourselves time to just hibernate and not go out.
Yeah, but it's so counter to, I guess, this way of life that we have, right? To where it's go, 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 be productive, do these things, and that for some, it's that shame that you experience or that one experiences by not being productive or not doing. So this book just reinforces like no you like that's not necessarily like productivity isn't just in making or doing, it's also in just being and learning how to just be without shame. So I think through through her stories, yeah, I think she demonstrated that. Even how you had mentioned the situation with well, her husband's illness and how that just kind of was like a shock to the system, and that's where it all started. And then she had her own medical issues, and then with her son in school, that was like the cherry on the top. Like, okay, this is not okay. Like I'm and trying to do the thing the way that people telling her to do the things that she should do for her son. Like, well, make him keep going. Like, it's important. And she's like, you know what? This doesn't feel right to me, and I'm not going to do it. So, she really, uh, I guess, demonstrated. And I think one of the things that I took away is not doing stuff that doesn't really resonate with you or feel like your way of doing it. Like it just doesn't feel authentic to you, so you're not going to do it. And she took the courage to do that.
Yeah, that's so true. And how we feel about that, and then also our clients, feel about that. They feel like, oh, like I'm failing because I'm
Yeah.
not doing this the way that I'm supposed to, or the way I was told to, or even I'm failing because I'm not being as productive as I want to be.
Mm-hmm.
And to know that there's all a balance. I mean, we talk so much about that again, going back to DBT, but that there's such a balance in that, like, yes, it's important to do those things, but in the time of wintering, it's important maybe to be still.
Yeah. Yeah. And to remind people that everybody is living their own lives, not somebody else's. So, I
Yeah.
mean, and I'm sure you see this with clients, like, look, everybody can manage all of this thing. This person has 5 kids and a job and a husband and a blah, blah, blah. And they can do it all. And I can't even do this, and so the, the shame that's involved, um, whoops, with that is, I think this book demonstrates how to lessen and how to just put it in the frame of no, you're not, you're just wintering. You're just in this, in this phase, and that's okay. You don't have to be ashamed, and I think that perspective and that, metaphor for being for wintering, I think is really helpful. And I've actually used it with clients,
Mhm.
since I've read the book.
Yeah,
And
yeah, me too.
people get it, like it's
Mhm.
that we can say things in so many different ways, but just sometimes these metaphors or this reframe catches somebody. So yeah. Yeah. Think.
Yes, very true. And to, even that idea, I have so many clients that will use the term like I'm just being lazy, but I think
Mhm.
wintering kind of gives you permission to just to be not lazy, but just maybe to give yourself time to rest. And
Yeah. Yeah. And to not pathologize everything, right? So to not
yes,
get, oh, what's wrong with me, this is like I'm sick, or I'm no, you're just human and this is just natural. So, and
yes.
allowing it, being, I combine that with mindfulness and to encourage them to be curious about it. Like, just be curious about what is coming up for you. You don't have to judge yourself for not being productive or for not being able to do the things that other people can do. Maybe that just wasn't what was meant for you.
Absolutely. And we were just kind of talking about this idea of even us as therapists too. We were just saying that we're both kind of not really seeing many people this week,
Mm-hmm.
if at all. And that's, because we need that time to rest too, because, compassion, fatigue, and getting burned out, all of those things. So,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and to that, it took me a long time to feel okay doing that. Like I think a lot of new therapists, well, I see both sides, but a lot of new therapists are like, oh, I can't take that much time off, or what if this happens or that happens? And it took me, yeah, I guess a long time to realize no, it's important to take care of yourself and to take the time that you need. If you feel like you need a week, if you feel like you need 2 weeks. I mean, there's some therapists that take like the month of August off, or that take, 3 weeks in the summer and 3 weeks in the winter, just different things. And your clients they'll figure it out, and you prepare them, and they'll be okay. And if it's not okay, then you have that conversation, and then maybe that's they have to come up with, again, in this context, what works for them. So yeah.
Yeah, and it's a great way of showing, like modeling that behavior too, that we
Yeah.
need to take time for ourselves too.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So the allowing yourself to be and to not push through pain, I think, was one, like to just like notice it. What is this? And her examples of real life illness, I think, really brought that to the forefront, and a really good
Yeah.
example of that.
Great example, because when you have things like that happen, you don't have a choice. It forces you to slow down.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You can't just push through it like she was like, "Oh, you're fine. You're just,"
Yeah.
and no, he wasn't, right?
It
So,
was kind of funny, right? She was just saying like, "Oh, he's kind of being dramatic,"
right.
and then I think one of her friends was like, "Hey, he looks really sick," and she was
Yeah.
just like, "Oh,
And he was.
he
Yeah.
was, yeah, yeah,
And she struggled a little bit with some shame about that, right?
yeah,
And so and the way she talked about that, and again, as the book went on, and she was able to, reframe that for herself and to forgive herself. So,
yeah,
I think there's a lot of lessons in this book, or a lot of messages, I guess, that are pretty accessible. Like that you don't have to, kind of like read between the lines too much to get the message, which I liked.
yeah, yeah. And I am definitely someone who struggles in winter with the lack of light. And so when it was the day of the winter solstice, I loved the day of the winter solstice, well, the day after. But
Mhm.
knowing that okay, tomorrow is we're going to start gaining that daylight back
Yeah.
again. And I love the part of the book. So her husband and her son, they actually went to Stonehenge um,
Hmm.
in England to a winter solstice celebration, and I just love that part of the book because she was even talking about how she had heard about people doing that and read articles about it, and she even said like, "Oh, I didn't even smell marijuana at all. Nobody
Right.
was using any drugs," and that there was a
Right.
lot of families there. So, and I just find it so interesting that people will have that spiritual practice and they feel that you can get power from the stones at
Hmm.
Stonehenge. And I just thought that part of the book was really, really cool. And I related
Yeah.
to it, and I, in my for myself, started thinking maybe it would be fun to put like some a practice that I will start on like the winter solstice. I'm not sure
Hmm.
what yet, but
Yeah,
yeah,
I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah, and then it was on the news, people going to
yes,
Stonehenge. So it was pretty funny.
it
But
was.
and it was, she talked about, oh, it's just these hippies or this or that. And then when she was there, she was like, it was beautiful.
Yes, it sounds really fun. Sounds
It
like
does
something
sound
that
fun.
yeah, they were like having little fires and
Hmm.
roasting marshmallows and s'mores. And yeah,
Hmm.
sounds like a good time.
Yeah, yeah, it did sound fun. Yeah, and I think that's, again, like how she was able to reset and let herself lean into something. Well, this kind of sounds like something I'd want to do. I don't know, maybe. And so she did it. So yeah.
Yeah, and something that she would probably not have ever done, before until all of these things happened, and she kind of realized that, right, same as what you were saying earlier, that this isn't my life to live for anyone else. It's what I want.
Right. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I thought that was a fun part of the book, I think.
Yeah, it was. It was very interesting. And yeah, and so my other favorite part of the book that I relate to so much was her chapter called Cold Water. So we talk about this in DBT, and it's like I think a skill I teach. So I mean, if you know me, you probably know the TIP skills from DBT,
Mhm.
the
Mhm.
temperature. So with cold water, so it just slows everything in your body down. So you could do it if you're, feeling a very intense emotion. But there's so many benefits of swimming in cold water.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah.
I just love that. So she started doing that, and I'm very envious because she was able to actually do it in the ocean, where she lives. So she was swimming in the ocean with a friend, and then they had more people come and join them, and she just kind of like started a club of swimming.
Yeah, I mean that was what was so cool. It just grew and grew and grew. And now it sounds like it's a practice that she really doesn't want to go without, and she said how she went from what, like, I don't know, 5 seconds to like a minute or 5 minutes, or that she can really stay in the water longer. So I can't remember what her max was, but I know it was,
Yeah, I don't either. But yeah, and just how like her thought process, she was talking about how it changed so quickly because when you jump in freezing cold water, you're not really thinking about much else.
Mm-mm. No,
Just that
no.
shock. So
Your body immediately goes into, it taking care of itself. And so you're not, I think cognition almost goes offline. So, yeah.
yeah, and so I started doing some research on that. So yeah, it improves focus. It's also really good for your body physically too.
Mm-hmm.
Within reason, of course. Obviously, always talk to your doctor first. But
Right, of course. Well, and that's why I think so many people are doing those cold plunges.
the
Like they
cold plunge,
buy those
yeah,
cold plunge tubs that they have, and it's all over, obviously, social media. But
yeah, I'm
yeah.
considering it. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It increases dopamine, endorphins, all of those.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, and I think that goes with the cold plunge goes with listening to your body and what you need, but it also goes with slowing down, because I think what the cold does is it slows things down inside your body that you don't even realize, right? And I think that's deeper than just trying to slow down your thoughts, but it like makes that happen.
Yes,
Like
if
I
you want it or
said,
not.
yeah, like you go, like, your prefrontal cortex, I think, goes like, we're not thinking, we are surviving, but in a more positive way, rather not like a trauma focused way or a trauma initiated way, but rather a like, okay, we're taking care of ourselves. Let's do this. And then because it's intentional. And then from what it sounds like, and from what I understand, like when you come out of it, it's almost like runner's high,
Mhm. The adrenaline, yeah.
Yes.
Mhm. Yeah.
Like I've done that. That's amazing. That feels so good. So, yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, and I mean that's why we use it in DBT. Why Marshall Linehan, use it so much
Hmm.
in DBT because it slows you down, so
Yeah.
it can prevent you from maybe making a really bad decision or
Yeah. Yeah. I have a lot of clients who do that, who put their face in the bowl of ice water,
yes.
and
Mhm.
obviously it's not your whole body, but it does,
Mhm.
it has a very similar effect.
Yes.
So, yeah, temperature is pretty amazing for regulating the vagus nerve. And yeah, I think she found, and I don't know that she, because now I can't recall, like, how did she get to doing the cold plunge? I know somebody talked to her about, she did it with
Yes.
somebody.
Yeah, I think she had wanted to do it before and then she just couldn't do it 'cause she was just
Hmm.
like, "No, this doesn't sound fun." But then it was a friend
Right.
of hers that really wanted to do it. So I think she was like, "Okay, well, I'll do it for her because she really wants to."
Right.
So
Okay.
I remember her talking about how horrible it was in the beginning.
Mhm.
But then, yeah, you said with how she started to kind of adjust more to it. And then she did start to enjoy it. And then it turned into a social event too. So
Mhm.
she
Right.
met people and just they kept inviting more people to join them. So that's another benefit of it too. Other people also are interested and want to do that too.
Well, and I think that's, part of the message of the book is, like, by having things that you do and building community that I guess aligns with you, or that feels without force. Like I think the
Yeah.
one of the whole like theme, kind of a golden thread theme that I read in the book, was doing things without forcing and that feel natural, and to really listen to what sounds right to you without necessarily listening to what other people are, telling you. So obviously, taking some suggestions, but not letting that be the way that you rule, or live your life. So developing your own little rituals and doing, taking time to just be without judgment. And I think that was something that I think a lot of us need to hear. Just
So,
being, and allowing yourself to just notice and to do what feels right, and to take the time to, like I mentioned earlier, not pushing through, but to take the time to really listen to what feels right. Because so often we don't do that, and our clients don't do that.
Yes, and we don't take the time to slow down. We did, yeah, just keep going.
Yeah, and I think this season with the holidays right now, I think this is a good example. Like a lot of people that I've been talking to have felt, and I have felt it for sure, but have felt like I don't want to do these things that I did before. I don't want to go to these gatherings, or I don't, whether it's, politics or the state of the world or just their wintering, whatever, many more people are feeling like I have the strength, I guess, and the right to say no without, being responsible. Back to the courage to be disliked, without being responsible for other people's reactions. And I think she echoed that in this book, right? So,
Yes.
like I'm going to make some choices that maybe other people aren't going to like, and they wouldn't be the choice for them, but they're the choice for me.
Yes. Yeah, and she made a lot of those choices
Mhm.
based upon the things that she had been experiencing and knowing like she couldn't just keep living her life the way that she was because it wasn't
Yeah.
working. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I felt like this was a really good follow up, actually, to the courage to be
Yeah,
disliked.
I think so too. Again, another, yeah, like they just kind of like blended into each other in a way
Yeah.
because yeah, she was setting those boundaries and doing what was needed for her and for her family too.
Right. Right. Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
also was having a lot of thoughts as I was reading this of Pema Chodron
Hmm.
too, and how she just kept saying, like we will just in life, be like we just have to get through this thing and then on to the next thing, and once we get through this, then everything's going to be okay. Things are going to be better, and how that can't really be how it goes because there's always going to be something else.
There's always something.
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Just
I
some
liked it.
comparisons.
I had wanted to read it. It was on my daughter's to read list last year, and I wanted to read it for a while. I didn't. So I'm really glad that we did, because I think, and I'm really glad we read it when we did, because I
Yeah,
think
so I was gonna say.
I
Mhm.
had just either finished reading it or just finished that part at the solstice. So I thought, oh, oh, this is perfect. Like it just felt, you know, it aligned well for reading it right now.
It really, really did. And I was just thinking about how much I was already dreading winter, already
Yeah.
thinking about it when you had suggested it. And the day I started reading it, it was really, really dark and cold. And I actually went for a walk. And because I didn't read
Mhm.
the book, I listened to it. I did
Mhm.
end up going back and reading some of it, but I listened to it. So I
Mhm.
actually went for a walk and listened to it while I was walking.
Mhm.
Um, and I was seeing like, yeah, it was so cold, but able to see like some Christmas lights in my neighborhood, and it was really nice. So I think it was perfect timing for sure to be able to.
Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
I think so too. And I listened to it as well. I have the book and I would read parts of it, but um for me I like to walk and listen to books. So, and it just yeah, I feel like it was really good timing and just kept reminding me to pause. And I thought that was important, you know.
Yes,
Especially
very.
again this time of year with the holidays, and people getting together or not getting together, or the people that we've lost and that aren't here, that aren't at how the holidays are different, so
Yes, always different. Yeah. Mhm.
so yeah, yeah, just it was a really good time to read it.
It was, and again, even how she talked about how people obviously celebrate, in different countries and different religions and all those things, even the winter solstice and how people celebrate. So I think
Hmm.
that's always helpful to know too, because it just kind of shows you that, sometimes if, the way that you have been doing things isn't working for you, it's okay to change it up.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I think that's a takeaway for me, is that, like I said in the beginning, I think um we tend to feel like, if we feel like we're falling behind or we're not where we thought we should be, to just sort of do a reframe and, just remind yourself you're not necessarily falling behind. You're just
Yeah.
wintering. And you're
Wondering.
you're you're at your own pace.
Yes. And another takeaway I think is acceptance too, knowing we
Mhm.
can't make the winter go away or any season. I mean, there's people out there that I know who just hate summer, and they don't
Yeah.
like warm. So whatever season there is. I guess you can move somewhere always cold or always warm, but
Right, right.
there's always going to be some season. So how do you come to acceptance, of that?
Well, I think acceptance, and then even beyond that is how do I find the the beauty or the peace or the whatever in this time, So even if I feel like I'm falling behind in my life or I'm not where I thought I should be, when you take that moment to pause, you can have gratitude and find other things that you can feel really more positive about. So just because you don't feel like you're making progress, it doesn't mean you're not, and that you're not where you're meant to be.
Absolutely. Yep.
Hmm. Yeah.
And that it's okay to be still and maybe not always have growth.
Hmm.
Sometimes it's just about reflection, and that's how you start to make changes. So.
Yeah. 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 I think this book really gets you to think
Yeah.
about that, and it gets you to, well, me, and I think for others, like to the little like annoyances, if you can work on letting them go. And again, like I said earlier, just kind of being curious, like what's this, like what's happened, maybe this is just telling me that I need to sit down and have a cup of tea, or I need to play with my dog longer, or I need to play with my son longer, whatever it may be, right? So
Yeah.
sometimes those things are just messages.
They are. Yes, they definitely are.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What do you think that you would rate the book on a scale of 1 to 10?
I think it was really good. I mean, I really enjoyed it, but I know that I rated some others, like I think almost every other book except for Bad Therapy, like 10 or beyond. I think I would give this a 9 or a 10.
Yeah, I would agree. I was going to say 9.5. It's
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
it's so hard because we read some really really good books, so it's
yeah,
hard.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So, what season do you think you're in right now?
That's a good question. I want to be in spring. I'll take
Well,
I'll take like the end of March, beginning of April any day. No, but I have been. I think I have been picking up some of those, like just the small rituals that she talked about and trying
mhm.
to incorporate them. And I really do feel like it's been really helpful and just trying to keep myself in the moment and enjoy the winter because it's not same with any season. It's not going to last forever. And it
Right.
reminded me a lot about emotions too. What we learn in emotion regulation and DBT is like the emotion feels like it may last forever, but it never does because
Yeah, it never does. Yeah.
no, constantly changing. So I'm trying to enjoy the winter.
Okay.
Maybe baking more, staying in, watching some movies, some shows.
Yeah.
I don't know. I do miss the light though. She did talk about that in
She did. Yeah.
yeah, and I don't think in the book, but the audio version of the book, she
Mhm.
talked about seasonal affective disorder and that you can buy the lights, which many people have recommended them to me. I haven't tried one, but might be something to.
Yeah, they're supposed to be pretty helpful. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting that I forgot about that because I realized as I was reading some of it, the audiobook contained a lot of things that the book didn't. And maybe
Huh.
they did somewhere else, but like that whole part on seasonal affective disorder, I didn't see it in the book. It didn't go along with the, like, as I was listening and kind of, reading through, it wasn't there. So
Yeah. Yeah.
maybe it's in the back of the, I didn't look, like I didn't, check to see is there an appendix or something. But yeah. So it's interesting. And I did enjoy listening to it. I did fall asleep a couple times, so I had to I had
To
to
go back.
go back. Like, wait, where was I? But that's more my timing when I'm not walking and reading and or listening, and when I'm like doing it before bed. So um but yeah, so I thought that was a little bit interesting with this book in particular. I haven't really noticed that in some of the other audio books that we've read,
Yeah.
because I've listened and read most of them. So like I have the hard copies or an ebook, and I'll listen, and sometimes I'll do them at the same time, and sometimes I'll just do one or the other. So
Yeah, I wonder if maybe she did, add that on after, because I think we had talked about she was very much in the book, just talking about how this is so just normal, it's something that just
yeah,
it happens to us all. So I wonder if she was purposefully not really talking about seasonal affective disorder in that way. I don't know, but yeah, I don't remember seeing it in the book either.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought that was interesting. Like, wait, where am I? Where am I? And then the whole thing was just not there. And then there were a few other things that just were changed a little bit that didn't really take anything out, I think. But like a sentence here or there was different. So it was weird, but interesting. I mean, I guess there's an editorial reason for that.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but I think I am trying to practice wintering
Mm-hmm.
more.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of a lot of what I got out of the book.
Okay. Yeah. So you're not trying to force spring to come.
Yes, as hard as that may be, I'm trying not to do that.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
keeping myself in the moment. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's funny because before I even read the book and her, her term wintering, I think I had been wintering for a period of time and not really realizing it. And I think for our clients, sometimes that can feel like depression and it can have some sadness
Yes.
and it can, right? But it doesn't mean it is, right? It doesn't mean that they're going into a depressive episode. It could just be you're just maybe, feeling not as energetic and like so some of the symptoms of depression that would align with that, but it doesn't mean that it's, clinical diagnosable depression.
Yeah, that's such a good point. And I think, sometimes we will feel that way, like, oh my gosh,
Hmm.
am I, feeling depressed? But yeah,
Hmm.
I mean, maybe you're just in your wintering season, and
Exactly.
that's okay. Yeah.
And it's okay. I think when it's not okay, obviously, I mean, you talk about the signs, any suicidal thoughts or any, not leaving the house or not bathing or those sorts of things. But yeah, I think it's so normal. And I really appreciate that she presented it that way.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to, I think it'll resonate with a lot of clients.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think so too. I've been definitely recommending it more after I read it to a
Mm-hmm.
lot of clients, and I don't think there's again anyone I wouldn't recommend it to.
Yeah, I agree. This is one, there's nobody, I don't think there's any exceptions for me. I mean, people who don't, you know, read obviously, but I think like some books like we've talked about, like, yeah, maybe not somebody who's dealing with this or that, but yeah, I don't see any contraindications to
No.
recommending the book. So this is one of those that I think can pretty much anybody can benefit from. I mean, really, it's a to really really just dial it down. It's a perspective shift, and she just really the metaphor she uses, and the self disclosure and talking about her own life. She just makes it relatable and encourages us to do that, to just shift a little bit.
Yes, yeah.
Hmm.
And yeah, take time to rest and reset and all of those things.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah,
Reminding us to be gentle with
absolutely.
ourselves and yeah. Yeah.
Especially after the holidays and with the new year coming up. I think sometimes that can be really hard too. People think like, oh, I need to make all of these New Year's resolutions and make
Oh,
all of
right.
these changes, so yeah, and that's
Yeah.
not helpful.
Yeah. If we can find a book related to that, maybe we can we can dissect that. There's got to be a New Year's resolution book because do you make New Year's resolutions?
No, no, I feel like when I have, no, nothing comes from them. And
Yeah.
then you feel pressure, and then you feel, guilt or sadness or shame, whatever, when you don't.
Yeah. Yep.
Um, but I
Yep.
think I know Marsha Linehan, I think, talked about resolutions at one point too, and she talked about setting intentions
I
for
was
the
just going to
resolution.
say, yeah, I do that.
Yes, yes, yes. It's important to have goals and intentions.
Yeah. Yeah. So I set intentions for the year and that way I don't feel as pressured. And it also reminds me to, be present with myself and what's important. So,
Yes, yeah, and maybe those will change, and that's okay too.
and that's okay. Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So, okay. So recommend, yeah, definitely a good book and definitely worth reading. I would recommend listening. Um, but I know some people don't like to listen to books. So what do you think? Listen or read?
I would recommend listening and going for cold winter walks while you're listening.
I
I think that will,
agree.
yeah, right. It was an experience. So all of those things combined. So
Yeah. And it's still a good time to read it, even though the book started in September. It's
Yes,
still like this time of year, particularly in the Northeast, it's a very good time to read this book.
it is. We
So,
still have how
yeah,
many months left of winter?
exactly. So read it and comment on what you thought about it.
Yeah, let us know what you think. And getting in, if you have ideas for books to read going forward, let us know. And read along with us, or we'll give you our opinion, our reviews of books. So,
Yeah, exactly.
so thank you guys for watching, and we
Yep.
will see you in a couple weeks.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.